Right after shooting last week's Martial Arts Teachers TV Episode 1, the premiere episode, I essentially blew my Mac up, so I'm working on some older equipment, so bear with me. It's also been a horrible week for our friends in Japan. They just got devastated. It's just heart-wrenching to see these images on TV and on the computer. I thought this really should be a wake-up call for all of us, so I'm going to devote the first segment of this show to helping you develop an emergency plan for your martial arts school. Then we're going to go into the 10-week academy with Chris Sutton. My wife and I have been taking the course now for 4 weeks, and we are having a blast. And I'm going to finish off kind of following up on last week's segment on common mistakes martial arts schools make with their promotional videos. I'm going to give you some tips on how to make your videos even more professional looking. I'm John Graden, and this is the show for martial artists just like you who want to achieve success without selling out and have some fun along the way. Thanks for watching. Before we get to the first segment, I want to share with you a 45-second video I just received from one of our COBRA-Defense certification graduates. That event happened last Saturday and Sunday, and then yesterday, this is what I got.
Hey, this is Jim with Cobra Self-Defense Dallas. We did our certification about a week ago. We came back and started telling everybody about it. The response has been incredible. On Saturday, we went out into the parking lot and we did a vehicle abduction scenario demonstration for the kids. After the demonstration, I had one boy who was walking by come in and sign up. I had 2 juniors sign up for our junior survival camp. I had an adult sign up for our junior survival camp. I had a father of one of my juniors who previously did karate and dropped out because it wasn't for him. He grabbed the form. He said he'll be in the survival camp. It's just given us a really good option to work with people who are not maybe ready for karate, don't think it's for them, but they want to know how to fight their way out of a parking lot situation. Really good program. I'm looking forward to it, and we're having a lot of good energy coming from it.
Like many aspects of building your business systems, putting together an emergency preparedness program or a business recovery program is not the most fun of projects, and it's one that many of us know we need to do, but we put it off. So I'm going to take you through a 10-step process right now to help you build your BRP. Here is a 10-step business recovery plan. This is pretty bare bones. I'm sure you can make it more comprehensive and specific to your school and your area and the types of disasters that you typically would encounter. But we're going to define a business disaster by paraphrasing the FEMA definition of business disaster, and that is the point in time after the cause when you cannot provide your students with the minimum level of teaching they paid for and expect, or they can no longer pay for the lessons. There are 4 types of disasters we'll address: natural, external, internal, and economic. A natural disaster is just as it implies, Mother Nature at her most ruthless. External includes terrorist attacks, wars, and riots. Internal, this is when the disaster is specific to just your school. And that's what, if your business catches on fire, your school burns down, someone breaks in and steals all your stuff, or you get sick or injured and can no longer teach. And economic disasters, we've certainly had our share of those in the last few years. Obviously, if there's massive layoffs in your town, that's going to affect the ability for your students to pay tuition. Or if the main employer in your town lays off a bunch of people or they shut down. For instance, Youngstown, Ohio, when the steel mills shut down there, or Detroit, when all the automobile manufacturers are going through their economic woes. That could certainly affect and be a disaster for your school. And if you're in a military town and basically all the parents are heading off to war, that can certainly be a disaster for your school. So for our internal plans, we're going to start by making sure we understand and everybody knows the evacuation routes and procedures. And it varies based upon where you live, obviously, but I live on an island of Clearwater Beach, Florida. So there's only 2 ways off this beach. So you have to know the evacuation. You want to make sure that you have plenty of fire protection in your school, fire extinguishers. Security procedures. Your school should have an alarm system that you arm and disarm every time you go in and out at the beginning of the day and at the end of the day. Your opening procedures and your closing procedures should include security procedures. And of course, obviously, you're going to need insurance. We're going to expand on this just a little bit. We're looking primarily for business interruption insurance, but there's other insurances that you will need to get. And you want to talk to your insurance provider and make sure that you're completely covered. And here's some of the questions you would ask. How will my property be valued? Because you're a teacher, it's not like you have machines or equipment that if they're destroyed, there's a basis in value for that equipment. When you're teaching, it's intangible. So how is that going to be valued? If you have to upgrade your school in some way to meet local codes, does the policy cover that? How much are you required to carry? That varies with where you live. What causes of loss is covered? And this is obviously huge because most of us don't realize what's covered and what's not covered until after the disaster. What are my deductibles? What does my policy require me to file a claim? What steps do I have to go through? What kind of documentation are they going to want to see if I am filing a claim? This is stuff you'd like to get done. Make this business recovery plan an annual review with plenty of checklists and all the required documents in a safe place. And then that goes into this whole idea of, on an annual basis, reviewing and updating your business recovery plan. Are you covered for lost income in the event of business interruption because of a loss? So if there is a hurricane or your school burns down, are you covered for that period of time? And for how long is that coverage is going to be in place? How long is my coverage for lost income if my business is closed by the order of a civil authority? So if I'm forced to evacuate because a hurricane's coming and I can't get back to that school for 10 days, am I covered for that? And to what extent am I recovered for reduced income due to students not all coming back immediately when we open? So same situation. I get the school open after being closed for 10 days, but the students start trickling in over the course of the next 2 weeks. That can affect my cash flow. Would that be covered? And can I get a discount for having a business recovery plan just like this? Many insurance policies will provide you with a discount for having a plan like we're describing to you here. So internal plans, we're moving now to codes and regulations. You want to make sure that you're up to date. If you're Great Britain, that's part of your licensing process. Records preservation. And when we talk about records preservation, we want to make sure that we have emergency call lists, we have all our student accounts, lease and legal papers, backup strategy for student data. And what is your agreement with your students if you can't teach for a month? Let's say that the school burns down or something happens and the school's closed for 3, 4, 5 weeks. Do the students continue to pay that? Typically, you want to have a clause that says the tuition will continue, but the time missed will be added on the end of the agreement. So if they enrolled for a 12-month program, they pay consecutively for 12 months, then you add the time that you were closed down to the end of their program. And I like the idea of color coding your folders. In other words, all red folders are absolutely must-have. So if there is an emergency and you've got to clear out of there fast, you know that the red folders are the ones that you absolutely need to have backup copies of and you need to get out of the building. Communications. How are you going to let your students know when something is going down? For instance, a lot of you guys, I see the emails, during the winter months, you have snowstorms and it forces you to close the school. So make sure that you have an updated contact list for your students and an updated contact list of all your key emergency responders. Get mobile numbers from all students. The best way to contact students when an emergency is through text. 97% of text messages are open within 3 minutes. That's better than email, and it's often better even than a phone call. So text them, shut down, and schedule changes. And use mobilebuzzmarketing.com. This is the one that we use because it has kind of a real inexpensive pay-as-you-go program. Plus, with Mobile Buzz Marketing, the service will literally chase down your students. So what I mean by that is it'll send a text. If it's not open in a period of time, it'll send an IM. If that's not open, it'll send an email. If that's not open, it'll broadcast a phone call to them. So it's a great program. And once the student responds to any of them or opens any of them, the sequence stops, so it doesn't continue. So mobile buzz marketing, check it out. It's ideal for this situation. Continuing with our internal plans, what are your shutdown procedures? Who can order a shutdown at your school? What if you're not there? Can your chief instructor make the decision? Does he have the authority or she have the authority to close the school down? Who will carry out the shutdown procedure? Who's responsible to make sure that all the utilities are taken care of and everything is shut down correctly? That's why you want to have a shutdown checklist that will cover everything, including getting those valuable files out of the school. And finally, we want to conduct a vulnerability analysis. This is the one I got this straight from, I think, FEMA. You can change it for your needs, but essentially you go through the type of emergencies that you're going to face. For instance, I don't believe on Clearwater Beach I'd be facing an earthquake or a tornado, maybe a tornado, but I certainly would be facing a hurricane. So the probability of that happening, what kind of human impact is it, what kind of property impact, what kind of business impact did that have? And you want to total that up, and the lower the score, the better. So this is a business recovery plan that, again, make it part of your New Year annual review and preview of the year. Review your business recovery plan, update it, keep it up to date, and make sure you keep yourself covered.
I'm going to pose a question to you. What is the first thing you should be doing out of safety once you get into your car? As soon as you get in your car, what's the number one goal immediately? I'm not going to answer that for you. I'm going to let Chris Sutton do it. Watch.
I walk by people all the time that have both windows down. Both windows down. Oh my God. OMG, LOL, ha ha ha. Oh my gosh, you're perfect. You are a sitting duck with a vehicle. If I need a vehicle, it's started, you're sitting in it, the windows are down, you're not paying attention. Don't make it any easier for me. I could be a bad guy in a wheelchair with no weapon and I could rob you. It's that easy. Sitting duck. Sitting duck. You probably have money, you definitely have a vehicle. You probably have some jewelry on you. You don't have your head on a swivel, you're not looking left and right. General awareness. Ladies, gentlemen, you get in your car, what's the first thing we should do? No, move, yeah. Lock your door and switch locations. Immediately. Immediately. Get to the first red light and do what you got to do. Bad guys count on you getting in that vehicle and having a 30 to 90 second sit still little meeting with yourself. 1, 2, 3, log. Bing. Oh, who is that? If he was in the corner of the parking lot saying, you know what, when she comes out, I'm just gonna, she looks good. I'm gonna pull her out of that car. I'm gonna push her in and I'm gonna take her to my little hiding place and we're gonna have some fun. Or I'm just gonna pull that guy out of the car and jack him for all that money he's carrying on him because he's the night watchman at the bank. And every time he gets in that car sits there for a good minute and a half. You know how many times that you've sat in that car and someone might have made a beeline right to you and then your car drove off? Switch locations immediately. You're very valuable to someone who doesn't have what you have. So you sit in that car, lock, start, and go. Make it difficult for anyone that was planning to do something to you. You're a sitting duck otherwise. In military, law enforcement, it's fire, cover, and move. My brother used to tell me I have approximately 22 seconds after I fire my howitzer. Boom! They're going to acquire your location, they're going to return fire. So they would fire, and their whole job, more than anything, was packing the stuff up and moving to another location. That was more important than firing. Firing is fire! Let's all sit here until they return fire. Move locations. Police work, pop, pop, pop. Do I stand here? Everyone knows where I'm at. I just fired a bullet. Pop, pop, pop. Move, 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 move. Be a moving target. You sit in your car, be a moving target. You go out in the morning, it's dark out, your husband's left, or you're all alone, you live alone, you sit in your car and you take 20 minutes to sip your coffee, check your emails, whatever you're doing. Move your vehicle. It's been there all night. People time this stuff. General awareness. Sir, can you hand me my camera? Okay, here's...
Usually we shoot the show on Thursday, so we have time to get it together for Monday distribution. But as you know, we were in a state of Maclessness, so my Mac was down. So I kind of had to take it out into the field to shoot these video tips. And this is not really as polished as I would like it. It's not quite the video I want it to be, but the information is good. I'm sure you'll get something out of it. And at the end, after the show, we will reveal who the secret cameraman is. Have fun. This is me talking really close, within arm's range of the camera, with my microphone on. It's a directional microphone aimed right at me. I'm going to take a step back now with the microphone on and make sure the cameraman raises up so you can see my head, face. I'm now about 6 feet away from the camera, speaking outdoors with the mic on. And now I'm about 10 feet back. I'm projecting my voice a little bit more, so I'm trying to help the camera, and that's what it sounds like with the camera on. I mean, the microphone on. At arm's length, this is what it sounds when the external microphone is turned off and you're using the internal microphone for the camera. Now, this is a pretty good camera. There's other things you notice about using when it's just the camera microphone is that you pick up the peripheral sounds, the ambient sounds, as they would say in videography, the birds, the kids, the music, and the wind. So now at 6 feet, this is what I sound like when you're not using an external microphone, you're just using the internal. And now at about 10 feet, this is the distance that odds are you'd be working your martial arts promotional videos. So this is what it sounds like without a microphone, or without an external microphone. If you only have one light source, for instance, when you're outdoors, make sure that light source is behind the camera, just like we're set up here. This way, as I'm working, the light is illuminating my face. So if you're outdoors and you only have one source of light, shoot it with the light behind the camera, the sun behind the camera. The best time to do that, and this is not what we're doing right now, but it's at dawn and at dusk. That's called the golden hour, and it brings out the richness in colors, which makes a great outdoor video. If you only have one light source, like outdoors, make sure this is not happening. This is what we see a lot of times in promotional videos. The light source is behind the subject, and that makes it very shadowy, kind of eliminates any detail. None of the light's getting on my face, none of the light's getting on my logo. So as I'm executing techniques, this may get blurred and more difficult to see, particularly with a less expensive camera. So this is the wrong way to shoot when you only have one light source. The light source should be behind the camera, not behind the subject. You ready? This is an instance where the cameraman is not using a tripod. So as I walk around, he's following me by hand. And typically that's more difficult to do. Earlier we did the shoot out on the water, and I walked around and he had it on a monopod. That's one stick, and he could just rotate the stick to make the camera movement smoother. You want to use a monopod or a tripod. Two quick things before we go. First, check out the martial arts teachers' channels, the MATA channels. MATA channels consist right now of martialartslifeskills.com, which each month sends you a 56 to 60 page, completely scripted out with powerful emotional stories and posters. And it's class by class, so it's 6 weeks, 2 classes a week, and it's broken down for young kids, and adults. It's a fantastic program. It's the most comprehensive life skills program there is in the martial arts, and it is at a ridiculous amount of just $17 a month for now. So head over to martialartslifeskills.com and also check out martialartsbusinesssystems.com. Martial Arts Business Systems, every month you receive a new instruction, strategy, step-by-step process where I'll walk you through the process of creating a business system for your school. Business systems for enrollments, retention, file keeping, everything, cleaning the school, just like we did earlier with our BRP. That's a system. So we're building a system. I'm going to help build the best practices, the best systems for your school. Finally, if you're enjoying the show, please tell all your friends. The new show will be up every week, usually on Monday, unless we have mechanical issues or technical issues like we did this week. But usually on Monday there'll be a new show. There's no cost to you to watch the show. It's free. It's my gift to the martial arts field, the martial arts profession, which I love so much. It's been so good to me through the years. So tell all your friends, like me on Facebook, send some good comments down there, and ask me questions. Send me questions that you'd like to have answered on this program. I'm John Graden. Thanks so much for watching. We'll see you next week.
Are you wasting way too much time drudging through the garbage on the internet rather than quickly getting to what you need for your martial arts school to grow at least 20% each year? Cut through the clutter and get the tools to grow your martial arts school at martialartsschoolowners.com. The smart school owner demands immediate access to video drills and games, pre-designed ads and forms, proven sales and teaching scripts, and other professional tools of success. Since 1993, no person has helped more schools to grow than John Graden. He has the time-tested systems and long-term track record of integrity and value. For less than 82 cents a day, you can have what others pay hundreds of dollars a month for, and you can cancel anytime. Click Join Now and become a member of John Graden's Martial Arts Teachers Association at martialartsschoolowners.com.
Here is our cameraman, Alexander Graden. You can find him at Alexander Graden TV on YouTube. Say hello to your big fan base here.
Hello, and by the way, in that last clip we did of me following you, everybody on YouTube now knows it's a he. So now, thanks for watching.